Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. So I was going to record this video a little bit later, but then I saw that Angela had posted her reaction video and I really want to watch it, but I don't want her opinions to inform my opinions, so I need to make this video now so that I can watch her video. And of course I am talking about the Nebula Shortlist. Last year I did, I think 3 videos. I did a video about the novellas, the novels, and the YA middle grade shortlist, and I'm gonna do the same thing this year. But when I saw the novella list, I had read all but 2 of the novellas, and so it didn't make sense to do a whole reading vlog for 2 books, so we're just gonna have a nice chit-chatty video about these books, and then the other 2 videos will be more reading vlog style. You can look out for those, but those won't be until April because it takes time to read all the books. So I'll be honest, I was a little disappointed when I saw this list. I don't have glowing things to say about most of these novellas, and there were some other novellas that came out last year that aren't on this list that I think were better. I don't know a whole lot about how the nebulas are chosen. I believe it's industry professionals, but I could be wrong. But yeah, I'm not sure if it's another popularity contest like the Hugos are, or if there's a little bit more like based on the quality of the work in the choosing. But the fact that The Lies of the Jungo is not on this list is tells me that it's not fully based on content, but I might be a little salty about that. Anyways, moving on. Let's talk about the books that are on the list instead of the books that I wish were on the list. Let's start with the one that I DNF'd. I did DNF Untethered Sky by Fonda Lee. I tried to read an arc of this before it came out, and I DNF'd it fairly far in. I think I got through the first section. So what was that? 50 pages? That's not too shabby for a, what is this? For a novella. But let me tell you, I was reading it and I was having a fine time. This is about a girl named Esther whose family is brutally murdered by a monster, and she joins this team of hunters who are paired with rocks, which are these like flying bird, giant flying bird thingies, and then they hunt these monsters. And so she joins this team to get revenge for her family. And I had never read Fonda Lee before, and I got those 50 pages in and realized that nothing good was going to happen for anybody for the rest of the book. I don't know if that's true, but that was the vibe I got. That was the gut feeling, and that is not who I am as a reader. I don't want to read a book where the main characters just suffer the whole time. That's just not what I'm here for. So I DNF'd it, and I have since tried to read The Jade City and just realized that Fonda Lee isn't the author for me. I don't really get on with her writing, and that's okay. But if you like books where the main characters are in pain the whole time, like, you may really like this. But that was not a good start for this list, seeing a book that I had DNF'd. Let's keep going with disappointments. Another book on this list is Thornhedge by T. Kingfisher. Now, don't get me wrong, I love T. Kingfisher. I love her so much. I love the Paladin books. I love her horror. I have found I do not get on very well with her fairy tale books. Like, I don't love Nettle and Bone so much. And while I really love the main character in Thornhedge, the ending that Kingfisher wrote for Toadlene really rubbed me the wrong way. But I think I'm getting ahead of myself. This is a, what is this? This is a Sleeping Beauty retelling, and this is fractured fairy tale where the fairy tale is not what it seems, and maybe the princess isn't always the good guy, and maybe the villain isn't always the villain. Like, things are not always as they seem in these fairy tale worlds. And so like I said, I like that idea so much. Like, that idea really works for me, and I really love Toadlene, who is a changeling and a fairy and is left to guard this tower that the princess is in. And I liked all the characters. Like I said, I just didn't like the ending. I thought Toadlene deserved more. Yeah, getting into why I don't care for this very much is really, we have to go into spoiler territory. So, like, if you've read this and you also want to talk about the ending, DM me on Instagram and I will be happy to talk to you about the ending. But yeah, I just can't get too in depth without spoiling the whole book. But I know a lot of people who really liked this. I think could be like a solid 4-star, maybe 3.5 star if the ending doesn't bother you, but I by no means think that this is T. Kingfisher's strongest work. And yeah, I'm kind of on the fence on if I'm going to continue to read her fairy tale retellings because I just don't have a good track record so far. We shall see. Okay, and then the surprise for me from this list is Ling Hun, and I don't remember what the author's name is because I don't have a physical copy of this, but I'll put it here. But this is classified as a horror novella. I wouldn't say it's horror after reading it. I finished it last night. It reads more gothic fantasy, I think, but this takes place at a community called Home where people can move into these houses and it allows them to live with the ghosts of their loved ones. It's got 3 different perspectives, and we have a teenage girl whose family has just moved into a house in order to be with the ghost of her brother who died when he was 6. And her perspective is in first person. And then there's a boy whose family doesn't have a house there, but people are allowed to camp out on the lawns of the houses in the hopes that someday they will be able to get a house in the neighborhood. And so his family has been living on the lawn of a house for a while. And his perspective is in third person. And then there's another perspective, which is an elderly woman who has lived in a house in this neighborhood for decades, and her perspective is in second person, which was really a really interesting structure for this book. I really liked it, and I really liked the themes and what the author had to say about grief and how people have more respect for the dead than they have for the living, and just what can happen when you put your life on hold for the dead. And I thought that was all really interesting. And like I said, the structure was really cool. I thought the thought project itself for this novella was really, really interesting. The ending didn't feel like it matched the rest of the book for me. It felt like it took a different turn and a different tone, and there was a reveal, and because of the way of the reveal, the structure changed a little bit, and I felt like we didn't have enough book after the structure change for it to feel cohesive, so it ended up feeling really abrupt, and the ending felt really abrupt. But if you get the ebook for this, like my Hoopla account had it, there is more short fiction by this author, so I would definitely be interested in reading more of their short fiction, especially while I still have the ebook checked out. If you're looking for something that's like different and not like a lot of the fantasy novellas that exist from last year, I would definitely recommend checking this out. I think even if you don't get on with the structure, I think it's an interesting experience. All right, the other book that I hadn't read yet was The Crane Husband by Kelly Barnhill. This is the first adult book I've read by her. I've only really read her middle grade before now. And this is another fairy tale retelling. This is a retelling of The Crane Wife, which I don't have any experience with, so I don't know how faithful this is to that original story or anything like that. But I thought this was beautifully written. I mean, Kelly Barnhill has such a way with words, but this is not a happy book at all. We have an unnamed narrator who is a 15-year-old girl, and her experience of her mother bringing a strange man into their house after her father has passed away. And so there's a lot of fear. It touches on like domestic abuse, partner abuse, child neglect. There's a lot of really heavy, sad things in this book, but I mean, the writing is beautiful and the structure is so well done. I wouldn't say this was a new favorite just because it was so sad, and I do need a little bit of like hope personally as a reader. And I think this maybe leans a little too literary for my personal taste, but I could see other people really loving this. I think there's always a book on these award lists that leans a little more literary than the other ones to try to like pull in the non-fantasy readers, which is my assumption. I don't know if that's accurate. Not the book for me personally, for my taste, but I can definitely see how this book got on this list. And then no surprise to see this book on this list, The Mimicking of Known oh my gosh, I can say this title. The Mimicking of Known Successes by Malka Older. This is a sci-fi novella set on Jupiter, and it's Sherlock and Watson style murder mystery. It's also got kind of a sapphic romance, like a second chance situation. And gosh, do I remember? I read this so long ago. I remember liking this, but not being obsessed with it. It was also my first Maka Older. So we're following, what's her name? Masa. So Masa and Pleedy are our main characters, and Masa is the like Sherlock character. She's very analytical, she's very deductive, she's very observant, and then Pleedy is our Watson character. And Masa and Pleedy used to be in a relationship but have since broken up, and then this murder in this book kind of brings them back into each other's orbit again, and they maybe not grow to care for each other again, but kind of remember why they worked together when they were dating. I thought the atmosphere in this is excellent. I kind of love this like gas lamp futuristic living it on another planet environment. Maka Older's writing is funny for me because I like it, but I tend to bounce off of it a little bit. I have to go back and reread a fair amount to like get it to stick in my brain. But I like her ideas. I think her ideas are really cool. I think the concept for this world is really cool. I do want to read book 2, which came out earlier this year. I just haven't gotten around to it yet, mostly because there's not an audiobook for it yet. So hopefully Tor gets on that quickly, because I really liked the audiobook for this one. And Maka Older's writing is like a style where physically reading and listening to it is helpful to have it not bounce off my brain. Yeah, I think this is fun, and it's a little bit different, and I hope the series continues and is fun, because I thought this was fun. All right, and the last book we're going to talk about today is Mammoths at the Gate by Niveau. This is book 4 in the Singing Hills cycle. I was 0% surprised to see this book on this list. This book also has themes of grief. Because in this one, we're following Cleric Chi, as we are in the other ones, and they are going back to the Singing Hills monastery where they're from because their mentor has passed away. And so this has, again, lovely things about grief and about the weird process of saying goodbye to someone who is really special to you, but also like having to go through their things, and you know, all those things that you have to do when you lose someone, and then the different things that person who has died, like what they mean to you, what they mean to other individuals, and how those things can be wildly different from each other. So I think this is very much a comfort read. I don't remember what I gave this, if it was 5 stars or if it was 4.5. I bet I gave it 5 stars. I don't think I've ever given a Singing Hill cycle book less than 5 stars. So yeah, I really, really like this one. Like by far, spoiler alert, by far my favorite of the bunch and the most enjoyable reading experience of the bunch. I really, really love this series in general, but also this book. So those are the 6 novellas that are finalists for the Nebula. I almost said the Hugo, but the Nebulas this year. I don't know which one I would pick to win. I would almost say Ling Hun, because it's just so different and definitely the most unique out of the bunch. And I think it would be fun to have something, you know, out of left field win an award. Like I said, I don't remember how these ones are chosen. Do I think Ling Hun is going to win? Not really. If I had to, well, I wouldn't bet money on it, but if I had to bet money on it, I would say it's probably either going to be The Crane Husband or maybe Mammoths at the Gate. I think it would probably be one of these, but who knows? I have no idea. I could be wrong. But yeah, if you've read any of these, I would love to hear what your thoughts are, which one you think should win. If you've watched Angela's video and have thoughts about her thoughts, let me know. I am definitely going to go watch her video as soon as I'm done recording this, because I really want to hear what she had to say. But I'll link her video down below if you also want to go check it out, because if you haven't seen it yet. I'm a little bit more excited about the novel list, and I am really excited about the middle grade YA list, because I found some of my favorite books from last year through that reading project. So I'm very optimistic about what's in store for me with those. But yeah, overall, I felt kind of meh about this particular list. But again, I would love to hear your thoughts and to let me know. And let me know if there's a novella you think should have been on this list, because the fact that The Lies of the Ajungo, which is by far the best novella I read last year alone, is not on this list. I don't know what we're doing. I just don't know what we're doing if that book is not being nominated for awards. Anyways, if you want to leave an emoji to let me know you're here, some sort of bird emoji, because we have birds on multiple covers, or creatures with feathers on multiple covers, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!